So, as dominant culture falls off a cliff in a sense into totalizing freefall, it makes sense for us to begin to identify and attune to, in a sense, you could say the axiomatic principles of the new intelligence, the emerging paradigm, the emerging worldview that is arising in the stead of the old way of seeing and acting, fixed as it is into furrows of death. One of the foundational principles, we could say, of the new intelligence can be stated very simply. It's this: it's to exist, share. We might think of ourselves as light sources, light bulbs in a sense, and hold up our course through life and our actions in the image of that essential existential dynamic, you could say. One of the reasons the agrarian sharing network is significant, in a sense, is that it's an eco-social phenomenon rooted in what you might call the primary mantra of sharing. We essentially surf that interface between red-blooded and green-blooded realms, where we essentially enact the sharing motif into social reality at a fundamental level. Take, for example, seeds. When you start saving seeds and working with seeds, it becomes immediately clear that seeds want to be free. And not only that, but they want to create an exponential growth, an exponential phenomenon. Vast amounts of seed will be produced by a single plant. If you're going to grow a social phenomenon, if you're going to grow a movement, if you're going to grow a network, it pays to do it essentially on the back of a phenomenon that is at heart fundamentally, exponentially abundant and healthy. Certain perennial plants reflect that that ontology, that reality, better than others. Grapes, for example. What you see behind me, I don't know if you can see it, the sun's in my eyes, is a planting we put in a couple of months ago from cuttings that we took in the spring of last year and grew them on in gallon pots where we could, sometimes 3 or 4 cuttings to a pot, and pull them out and put them into the ground this year. This collection behind me represents, I don't know, I forget the numbers now, I haven't counted them in a few weeks, 30 or so of our most favoured varieties of grapes. You'll have heard me often talking about the significance of grapes. One of the things that makes grapes so interesting is that typically, for example, we prune them back massively every year. What that gives us, quite unusually, is an extraordinary amount of propagation material to work with every year off every plant. So grapes don't simply represent one of the most resilient, disease-resistant, diverse and extraordinary crop types in our global embrace, but they also represent a unique propagation phenomenon, in a sense. Here is a plant that is made through intelligent design, in a sense, not only to forge on through the millennia and establish itself as a primary global cultural foundation stone for culture and the advancement of consciousness everywhere, but that are made in the image of this extraordinary giving, this extraordinary abundance, this natural, to give it an anthropomorphic quality, this natural inclination to give, to share in the image of a greater abundance. And this collection of grapes behind us, one of the reasons we're putting it in is not simply because it reflects one of the most extraordinary collections of table grape flavours that we've assembled from moving among 700 varieties over the course of the last few years, but it's also what we anticipate will essentially be a scion producing factory in a sense. Each one of these grapes, as it grows up, will produce an enormous amount of material every year, and that's material that we will be freely sharing with you and everybody else as we do. That's ultimately a biocultural power, in a sense, that sits at the heart of the Agrarian Sharing Network and what it is we do. Boy, did I go on a bit or what?